This anime is what made me lose interest in magical girl deconstructions. Not only because everyone kept trying to mimic Madoka Magica until it became its own stereotype, but also because as a subgenre it's just a placeholder. It doesn't mean anything on its own, only what you do with it. Basically, I wasn't seeing it as a cruel take on Kyuchimahu Shoujo, since that's the bare minimum every single one of these shows is doing, so it can be called a dark subversion or whatever buzzword you want to use in an attempt to make it sound better than what it is. I was seeing it as a twist on the death game formula. Ever since Battle Royale and the Highlander established the basic rules, everybody's copying them and none managed to create a better alternative. The thing that initially attracted me in a racing project was exactly that. There didn't need to be only one winner at the end. You don't win by being the last man standing, only half of the participants needed to die. It doesn't sound like much, yet it is, because it completely changes the character dynamics. If you know you don't have to kill everybody, making alliances becomes far more crucial, and it's also permanent because it doesn't lead to backstabbing each other once the opponent is defeated. Another thing the show was doing a great job at first was showing actually meaningful character interaction. Every girl was somehow affecting the personality of another girl. They were not stuck in a specific mentality from beginning to end, they were changing based on how others treated them, which is something extremely rare in any show. This didn't last long, since later interactions were far more superficial. It was always about a death making someone sad or taking things more seriously thereafter, stuff that would have happened anyways in any death game. Essentially, it was the same change for everyone in a predictable manner, and with nowhere near the gravity and unique feeling of the initial reactions. Also, a big chunk of the girls was nothing but fodder. They were there just to die without offering anything to the plot. Although expected because of the sheer number of characters, it still poses the question of why did you have so many characters in the first place? Having half of them doing more meaningful interactions would have made the show infinitely better. Having excess characters that exist only to be killed came off as edgy, in the sense that they are there just for shock factor, instead of somehow being in service to the narrative. Also, there was no time to flesh out 16 characters in only a dozen episodes. The best they were getting was a quick flashback which explained why they became the way they are in the present. It's better than nothing, but it's also too rushed to make an impact. Especially when all flashbacks happen in the same episode, the girl in question dies. Yes, they flesh them out a few minutes before they kill them. The laziest way to try making you give a shit. Also, even the death tournament became less interesting as it went on. The initial battles were about mind games, where they would outsmart the opponent by taking advantage of her character flaws. It wasn't about superpowers, it was all mental. Later battles said fuck it. It was just who had the biggest energy attack, or the most broken power. It no longer mattered what their personality was like, it only mattered how overpowered their abilities were. The last straw that made me hate the show was when they eventually broke their own established rules and nothing was consistent anymore. Remember how I said only half of them needed to die? It was a lie. It's still the usual there can be only one we've been getting for decades, and power levels don't mean anything. Thanks a lot for making me trust you are not one of the same, you lying sack of shit. So yeah, it's another crappy modern anime with a pretty damn good start that just couldn't last for more than a few episodes, because by the end of the day it's just another light novel adaptation for edgelord otakus. Princess Tutu will forever be the best magical girl deconstruction because it's retro, and shame on me for giving modern trash one last chance to not make me be sick of their bullshit writing. Never trust modern, retro always wins. Pah!